Welcome to Talk is Sheep, the official podcast of the Wild Sheep Society of British Columbia. Brought to you by our title sponsor, Mountain Tough Fitness Lab. Come along with us as we take conversations that matter to you into the high alpine. We have partnered with Mountain Tough Fitness Lab to help get you in shape and mentally stronger. Whether you're a veteran hunter or just starting out, the Mountain Tough app will take you to the next level. We personally train using the Mountain Tough programs, and we believe in it so much that we want to give you 6 weeks for free using code SHEEPBC. That's SHEEPBC. Check out Mountain Tough Fitness Lab. You won't be disappointed. This episode is sponsored by our conservation partner, Precision Optics. Thank you Sitka Gear and Precision Optics for investing in healthy wildlife and sustainable ecosystems.
Yeah, so we'll start us off. We're Talk is Sheep is live at the Sheep Show here, 2024, Reno, Nevada. Put on by the fabulous Wild Sheep Foundation. I have with me official Jen Phillips.
Official Jen Phillips.
Yeah.
Just Jen Phillips, but that's cool. That's my handle.
Great to meet you. I've seen a little bit of your work online. I don't know a ton about it, and I'm eager to chat with you and learn a little bit more about you and about your work and about what led you to Sheep Show here.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm happy to be here. So I guess to start off, a little bit about myself. I'm a journeyman welder turned metal artist. I started welding when I was about 15 years old, so grade 10 roughly. Got my ticket right out of high school and went into the oil field construction for about 8 years until I had my daughter. So I only recently started doing the art about 3 years ago, so I guess that's in my welding career, a little bit newer.
Yeah. Is that seems like it's a pretty unique kind of a field. Like, I know a bunch of welders. I don't know too many people that really do, take that trade skill and then apply it to like art. And some of the stuff that I've seen from you, it's pretty friggin' incredible, I gotta say.
Thank you.
Not trying to pander, but it's legitimately, it's super neat. I think it's a niche thing, and it's incredible, some of the work that you've done.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like even walking around here, and it's a whole different thing in itself, but there's a lot of like bronze casts and stuff like that. So it's essentially like sometimes people kind of put me in that category, but it's completely different. Just how you build these things, and with a cast you're sculpting like from a clay or whatever, and with me I start from nothing and kind of build onto that.
So one little piece at a time, where you kind of all of a sudden this creation is here, right?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I surprise myself.
So, what is your process on doing a piece? Are you like, I'm going to make a sheep thing, and then it's like you're literally starting with some rectangular, triangular piece of metal yeah. and like going from there?
So usually I do use a lot of sheet steel, so everything usually starts with a frame. Depends what I'm doing, but most things start with a frame. So I'll have a rough idea. A lot of the time I go off like photographs, and honestly, like I said, I wing it most of the time. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it works. So I'll build a frame and then sheet it in and build up the weld, grind it down. Essentially, you're sculpting the metal until you get that look and that realism that you're going for. And yeah, I kind of learn as I go. Like, I never went to art school. All my skill set was acquired in the years that I spent in oil field construction, which I guess is kind of a different way to go about it. Lots of sculptors maybe went a different route, went to school. So it's kind of school of hard knocks, I guess, because you learn as you go and learn from your mistakes.
Probably the best way.
Probably. Funnest way for sure.
For sure, right? I think it's super cool that you've transitioned that, like this trade into something that's, I assume, is now like a passion for you, where you're like working away on some piece, and like I have no doubt that it's hard work, right? But you're doing something that's like, man, it's super rewarding to create something.
Yeah, that's just, I get that question a lot. People ask me like, how do you, because these take over 200 hours, 300 hours. So how do you like stay, focused? And you gotta have it. For me, it's all passion. Like, there's no place I'd rather be. I think all the years spent in the industry, like I enjoy that hard work. I enjoy going to bed at night and you put in 10 hours of physical labor. I've like come to enjoy that, and then add on to that the passion. And this is without a doubt like what I want to do, and I'll go as hard as I can to get where I want to be, kind of thing. So it's cool to be living out my dream, I guess. That sounds like cliche, but
No,
it's the truth.
bang on. It's super cool that you're doing that, chasing your dream and enjoying life, I think, right?
Absolutely, yeah, most
Yeah.
of the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. There's always struggles.
Yeah, that's right.
So you mentioned your daughter, and so that kind of brought you from like, I don't want to go work on the oil patch somewhere on the road and be away from home all the time, and I can appreciate that. I got kids myself, and so it's like
changes your life for
you
sure.
betcha. Yeah. Is that I guess then, like, are you able to now just work from home essentially, or?
Yeah, so I guess this is the first year. It was kind of a year ago. I had to make the choice. Either I was going back to a welding job, like in a shop kind of setting, or I was diving in head first, all out doing this. So yeah, I'm doing the metal art full time. We built a shop like in our yard last year, put up a welding shop. So this year it kind of went from more of a hobby into full on business, and it's overwhelming sometimes, but it's exciting. And as much as feel like I'm working more than I would be a regular welding job, there's more flexibility. So right, kids are sick, okay, well, you can take the day. Or
hugely important with kids around, right?
Absolutely, especially young ones.
Yeah.
They're very needy still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we love them, but they're clingy. Stage 5.
That's awesome. Like to be able to work from home and have that flexibility, obviously that's got to be huge for you, and then super cool that you're now doing something that you love and making it work within obviously your family dynamic, and like you've blown up in this last year, right? Like
I don't want to say, well, yeah, I'll say it, but so I did a piece last year for a sheep show. I did life-size doll sheep, and that was kind of like a pivotal point in my career. I think it was a mixture of just I'd never built anything of that stature. Like that was one of the most challenging builds I'd done, kind of something, next level, and then mixed with coming to sheep show, making a ton of really good contacts, and yeah, since then, like, it's just kind of up and up. This year's been really good, so it's very exciting.
Probably bringing on like new challenges now too, right? Where you're like, okay, this was like something I was like, you mentioned, I'm kind of hobbyist with this, and like now it's like this is now my employment, like full time.
Oh yeah, like
probably
people
now
are paying you to do this stuff, and it's a little added pressure for sure. But I think with pressure comes diamonds. Is that what they say?
That's right.
There we go.
Good. My wife's gonna love that. She's a geologist, so she's like, oh yeah, sweet, some nerdy rock jokes, making gems out of coal or something, and that's awesome.
This one's for you.
That's awesome. So you're now primarily building pieces for individuals, or is this something that you're kind of like you focus on? Like you mentioned, you did this piece for the Sheep Foundation last year, and you've got another one that's coming up for auction on Friday night, I believe.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, so I've seen that a little bit online. Why don't we dive into that one a bit and talk that up?
Sure. Yeah. So that piece. So I got a bow last year. I'd been wanting to get into bow hunting forever, and just kids, work, never really found the opportunity, but got a bow, ended up going on a bear hunt last spring. So that piece was actually we started spitballing. I knew I was going to do sheep show again, put something in the auction, and that's kind of where that idea came from, just talking with my guide. And he had this cool idea of doing something with a Trapper Nelson pack. So I wanted to do something like really different this year, something that no one had seen before, and something just that would resonate well with the sheep hunters, and it kind of has that like whole nostalgia vibe. And so anyway, I think that one challenged me absolutely, but I'm pretty happy with how it turns out, and hopefully we can make some good money on it for Wild Sheep Foundation. So
yeah, no, it's super cool, and the nostalgia is like 100% there with the old Trapper Nelsons. Like I've seen a few taxidermy pieces over the years, right, where someone does the same thing. They'll have like even just like a dead head, like we've got sitting behind us here.
Yeah.
Strap that thing onto a pack, and you're just like, man, that just brings back these like visions of how hard life must have been back in the day,
Oh,
right, compared to what we're
absolutely.
doing nowadays.
Absolutely, and yeah, the name of this piece is going home heavy, so it's kind of poetic there.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I think I'm excited to see how that does on Friday night. I'm sure it's gonna go well. It's like, yeah, I haven't seen it in person yet myself.
Yeah,
but
and that's just it. Like, I wish everyone could see these pieces in person, because a photograph online only does so much, and you don't really get the idea, because it's life size.
yeah.
Yeah, so to see it in person, it's like a whole new, just as with anything. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for more people to see it. It's
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. So you mentioned like 200 to 300 hours is kind of standard for.
For something, yeah, something that
that's-
size.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to my stuff, obviously. So what it might look done to someone, but to me, I'll spend like 2 more weeks just dialing it in. And
Yeah.
I guess that's
Bring-
what puts you apart. But
You bet.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of work. Like, I think most people probably don't really realize, like, think about how much you work in a month, right? In your 40-hour-a-week job or whatever, right? It's like, no, this is like,
Yeah.
this is way up there, right? This is
Oh,
you're talking
yeah.
a couple months of like dedicated full-time work. To
Yeah, and that's
something,
just
right?
it. When I got a project going on, like, I'm very lucky to have my husband's support and mom and dad, because I truly couldn't do it without them with kids, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm in the middle of a project like that, I'm working like 8 to 10s and like through every weekend, just.
Yeah.
But I'm so
Good.
dialed in on it that it, like, time passes in the shop. I get asked all the time, like, how is it you work alone? Like, right, you work on your own every day. It's just you. And when you're like dialed in to something like that, it's like I don't even notice the time.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's super cool. What do you got coming up next moving forward? Are you got some bigger pieces planned, or kind of keeping things in the same wheelhouse for now?
Yeah, I mean, I've had, I don't know how much I can say. They're not like confirmed jobs, but I do have some really cool stuff coming up this year, some different stuff too. I mean, I've kind of gone with the wildlife theme. I'd say is like kind of my main theme is kind of wildlife stuff, but I'll be doing my first like portrait. So I'll be doing a metal sculpted face coming up, and that'll be a completely new challenge. So I'm really excited to kind of stretch my abilities, and yeah, there'll be some cool stuff.
Do you find like using different references, like whether it be photos or video or books or whatever, like, I mean, animals are so unique, right? One critter to the next is going to be completely different. And you're talking facial structure on a portrait here, where you're like, yeah, there could be something with its nose or with its eyes or with its ears or whatever it could be, right? And all these variations.
Oh, totally, and it's crazy because, like, we'll take the sheep for example, or I did a bear last year, but I take like a bunch of different photos of, like if I do a grizzly bear, I'll get a bunch of different photos of a grizzly and then use those, but then make up like my own version of like what I think is like the best looking version of the bear, So it's really neat to, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
I love what I do.
That's awesome. I think it's super cool that you're doing it with animal stuff. I'm a sucker for animals. I'm here at the Sheep Society, so obviously.
And it's like you do what you know. So I grew up in hunting family and in nature, and so obviously that resonates with me, and that's kind of what I know, and therefore it naturally just comes out in the art. So that's definitely going to be my theme. I might venture out here and there, but that'll be, I think, something that will stick throughout my career. So, yeah.
Very, very cool. What do you find, like, I'm trying to picture now, like, a portrait of a face of an animal and with a welding piece, like, how fine-tuned are you getting on something, like, just thinking, like, trying to make, like, the look of hair or the look of fur or whatever, right? Stuff like that. Like, how tight are you going on stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I think, like I said, it's a learning curve every time you build something, because sometimes the tricky thing with like metal sculpting, it's not clay, and you can't just wipe it off with your thumb.
Yeah.
It's like hours and hours of like physical labor and an angle grinder, and I mean, like I said, that's how you learn. But yeah, I think for me, like you mentioned the hair, so like with the doll sheep, because I at one point had tried, but sometimes what you think is gonna look good, it you know, I don't know. It's all about kind of messing around, but I think every piece I do gets a little more fine-tuned and gets a little more detailed. Because, right, you start picking up on different things. And, yeah, I mean, I go pretty hard. Like, the horns on both the sheep I, like, aged them. So it's like a 9-year-old sheep, and I make sure to get all the annuals. And it's, like, little things like that I do it because I hope some people might pick up on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lots of people won't notice those details, but obviously I'm doing it for myself and in hopes that someone notices that little stuff.
Well, I think that's what's setting you apart already, right? Like it's people are noticing those details and seeing that stuff, right? And
yeah, I think it's so easy. Sorry to cut you off there, but like right when it's no different than if you're drawing and tell someone like draw a sheep. If you like have the slightest thing out, it can like completely make it look so goofy, right? If like one eye is a little, so that is the hardest part about doing the animals is because they need to be symmetrical. So right up, you'll like do one side of the face, like the eye perfect, but now you gotta match that or do one ear. So that's for me like the biggest challenge is getting that symmetry, and because my ultimate goal is like realism with my pieces, and as a metal sculptor, that's obviously can be a challenge. But yeah, I mean that is definitely my goal to get it as real and lifelike as possible. So yeah, it's a challenge for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Probably and unique challenges on each piece too, right? Where you're kind of
each piece brings a new challenge for sure. Yeah.
What's been your favorite creation? I don't know if this is a fair question or not, but like what have you enjoyed working on the most, or maybe what was the most challenging or
So I did a dogtooth tuna, like the fish sculpture I did 2 months ago. That was, I don't know if I can pick favorites because I like them all for different reasons, but that was 100% the most challenging I've done. So with that piece, the client actually sent pictures of like the actual dogtooth jawbones, not just like laid out on the tailgate with a measuring tape. And he wanted, replicas essentially of these jawbones in steel form. So I like welded up each individual jawbone to size and then like pieced together these like essentially like fishbone taxidermy but with steel. And it sounds so wild, and like as I'm doing, I'm like, oh my, like these like happens most projects where in the middle I'm like, I don't actually know if I can, this is nuts, I don't think I can pull this off. But again, you're in there and it's like dialed in. So yeah, I piece this thing together, but the tricky part was half of it was skeleton and then the other half was lifelike dogtooth tuna. So that for me was like the coolest in my opinion, and it was just so different than things I'd done. So, and then once you challenge yourself and you accomplish it, obviously that's like an awesome feeling. So
yeah, no, another tool in the pouch, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, I had this challenge on this thing and like I figured it out. Maybe it took longer than I thought it would, or maybe it didn't, right? But it's like you get through it, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, take this, and now I can.
Yeah, this is easy now.
Jump onto something different and figure something else out, and all of a sudden you're doing all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more I push myself, and like you said, this year has been a big year for growth, and I think a part of that is just taking on these crazy challenges. Because I'll have people like all the time, a client, can you do this? It's like, well, I'm not going to say no ever. So yes, I can do that.
Yeah.
Can I do it?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah. We won't know till I figured it out, right? But if you say no, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
And
right?
that's just it. So I truly don't say mom's over here. She give me heck, but I don't say no to anything. My son was 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks old. And like a couple months prior to him being born, I took on this like big job for a golf course, and I was just starting out. So at that point, you can't afford to like turn jobs down. So my whole family is telling me not to do this, and I'm like, I have to do this. So I had my son, and I was in the shop like 6 weeks later, working 12-hour days trying to get this done for the golf course, and mom's babysitting Will is just absolute mayhem. And then you have a baby who's up all night and then welding for 12 hours. Absolute nuts. Yeah, but got the job done, and right, it's like you do things like that and then everything else seems a little bit easier. So
yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, it's always There's a lot of excitement.
Conquering challenges leads to growth, right? Where you're like all of a
with
sudden,
anything. And hard
Yeah.
work
you betcha.
pays off. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think it's a lesson probably for a lot of people out there that might be listening. It's like, yeah, you could be doing a trade, right? And nothing against a trade. I'm an electrician, and like
Yeah,
it's like
my husband's
you
an electrician. Yeah.
you're doing a trade, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's what I do, and it's work and stuff. But then you're like, oh, I could do something else with it, or I could slightly adjust something off of it and veer into this other thing, and now it's a passion thing, and
I just did it, and there's been many moments along this road where, like last summer, I went back and was doing some welding, like in a shop, and I was like in between, because I'm like, well, it's not taken off yet. Will it ever? Like, are people gonna pay? Like, can I make a living off this? And you have those doubts, and it really is a trust thing where you need to believe in yourself, and it's not easy, and I'm not perfect, and I have a lot of doubts in where I'll go back and beat myself up. But in the end, if you don't know, if you don't give 110% and go all in, you'll never know. So that's kind of my mindset shift this year, and I think that's why things have started happening. Is I just jumped all in and giving it all I got, and it's paying off.
Soon you'll have to say no to things because you'll be like, I can't physically do all of these things that I'm being asked, right?
It's just me in here.
Yeah, that's the next challenge. Maybe who knows, right? Like you got to take those things as they come, right? But it's very inspiring to see that you've grown things to where they are now, and that you obviously seem pretty happy with things right now, and
for sure.
And it's super. I think that's super inspiring for people to hear. It's like chase a dream, right, or chase a passion, whatever it might be. And
I think too, for people like to see you pursue like such a different kind of, because it's metal art, and I think even from my own family and friends, you doubt it's like you're doing metal art. I don't know if there's a business for it, because again, it's like there's lots of bronzes and paintings and stuff, and you're kind of doing something a little bit new and different. But it just goes to show, no matter what it is, like, take the chance, do the thing, and it might not work out, but it might.
Yeah, you won't know till you give it a go,
don't
right?
have any regrets when you go. So
that's the thing, right? It's like you go jump into something that you care about or you enjoy, and it's like even if it doesn't pan out, you'll still have learned something along the way. You'll still have learned something about yourself, or you'll still have grown from it, or whatever, right? And I think today, like in this day and age, like you can, there's so much opportunity out there for you if you want to work hard at something, if you want to apply yourself to something, you just go do it, and it's gonna go somewhere, right? If you work at it, right? And if you don't, it's obviously important to have goals, I think, and stuff. But like at the same time, you also kind of just like, no, I'm gonna just like dive into this thing, and I don't know what the finish line looks like right now.
For sure,
I have no idea.
And I think for me, a lot of it, like for most people, it's fear, and it's, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll lose this much money, or I won't be making. And for me, that's kind of how it was. Is if I'm not like welding, like have a regular welding job, like I could be making this much money, but then I'd be doing this kind of mediocre thing, and I would, like, if I, did that instead of going all in this year, I'd miss out on so much opportunity and happiness, and just I think working for yourself and doing something you love for you, that's the ultimate, in my opinion, is like that's the goal, right? Yeah, to do what you love, I guess, essentially.
Sure, and then to be able to do things on your own terms too, right? Like you said, like with family, flexibility is something that's important for you, and it's like, well, this provides that all of a sudden, right? And I can decide, okay, for these 6 months, I'm going to just like bust my tail at this stuff, but then I got a month coming up where I want to.
I'm going hunting. I'm sorry, I can't weld all.
That's right, right? And it's like that's the dream, I think, for most people, right? And if you're locked into something, and it's maybe a dream that's never going to seem attainable to you, right?
100%.
No, it's super inspiring, and I think it's, again, I can't wait to see this thing in person and like get up close to it, be like, man, like look at this thing, and look at all the detail, look at the go and explore like the detail that you've already spent all this time and effort in putting into this piece, right?
You miss so much looking at a picture.
Yeah,
on your phone.
one angle or
right.
Like,
to walk around it, get that whole feel. It's I'm super excited for you to experience that.
Awesome. I guess so. Like last year, you did a piece for the foundation. Doing another one this year. What was it about sheep? Like what kind of, where did that come from?
So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I don't want to say I stumbled upon it, but I ended up doing a piece for the Gym Shockey Classic last year, and I had like I am inspired by photographs a lot of the time, and I mean sheep are just like nothing compares, right, with the horns, and I wanted to do a sheep even before I had anything to do with Wild Sheep Foundation. I just thought like they were such like crazy, fascinating animals. I wanted to weld one up. So anyway, just mutual contacts, and one of the organizers of the golf tournament kind of mentioned like, if you're doing a sheep, this is the place to go, and this is your crowd. So I kind of took that and ran with it. Filled out the donation form, and it's really cool as a hunter and conservationist to be able to use my art, and that's the way that how I am able to do my part, I guess, and I'm happy that like my art allows me to do that. It's kind of like a win-win.
For sure. I mean, anything in the conservation space, Wild Sheep Foundation here, they do a great job of showing those people that are giving back, and it's just a super rewarding thing. I know, like on my end here is like just volunteering my time to be a part of an organization, right? And you're like, it's like I just know that like at the end of my days, I'll look back on this and be like, yeah, I did this. I was doing things for me, sure, but I was also doing something for a greater cause.
And
right?
that's just it. Like I think for sure, as a hunter, outdoors person, like, right, why do you care about conservation? Well, if you have kids, you want them. So it's so rewarding being able to be a part of that. And as you said, that's what you're doing here, and it's very cool.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's truly inspiring work that you're doing here, and I think it's something that as people are following you and learning about you, right, it's something that they can look at and go, oh yeah, this person has followed something that they're interested in, they're working their butt off at it, and it's taking them to some other level, right? And then adding in stuff with the foundation, right, where it's like you're giving back at the same time. Like I think that's something we could probably all aspire to do a better job of. And just want to thank you for your time and thank you for your efforts on that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. It's great to be here again. Last year was my first sheep show, and I brought Mom down. We had no idea what to expect coming into it, but leaving, it was, you hear people say it's like a big family, and it truly is, like, just such an awesome community here, and just, I'm so happy to be like a very small part of it. It's cool to be here.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and you mentioned family there, and I think that's it gets mentioned around here a lot, and for a good reason, right? It's like people come from all over North America and even beyond that, and they're here, and it's like you can have a conversation with anyone here. It doesn't matter if they're 70 years old or 7 years old. You could literally talk to them, and they'll probably have something friendly to say to you, and you could share stories and learn from each other and all that stuff, right? And it's
just a similar way of thinking and similar values. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to kind of wrap things up here. Where can people find you if they want to look at your art, or if they want to ask you about a piece down the road?
So I do have a website, www.metalmonkeydesign.co. So my welding company is Metal Monkey, and then on Instagram, official Jen Phillips. And that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. It would be through my website. So
awesome. We'll put all that stuff in the show notes. I want to thank you for your time. It was great to get to know you a little bit today, and I'm truly excited to see how this piece goes on Friday at the auction, and watch it raise a ton of money for Wild Sheep here. And we'll sign things off saying thank you to Mountain Tough for being the official sponsor of the Talk of Sheep podcast. And we'll check in with you guys on the next episode from Sheep Show.